Hi, Rebecca. Firstly, thank you for joining us today and taking part in this video series we're putting together, looking at AI agents and agentic AI. So welcome to the conversation. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for having me, Trevor. It's nice to be here. And yeah, very much looking forward to our conversation today.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. We are taking a slightly different angle. There's been a lot written. You could almost say 2025. We knew AI was a phrase last year and the year before. This year, it seems to be AI agents, agentic AI. But the vast majority of what seems to be spoken about or written about is focused very much on how it will impact the traveler, searching, booking, how it might impact hotels in terms of efficiencies, guest experience. But not a lot has been discussed about how it will potentially impact positively or negatively hotel tech providers like you guys. So that's the angle we wanted to take a look at. And rather than positives and negatives, we'll look at it from the purpose of opportunities and what threats it may present. So being a positive kind of person, I'm going to start with the opportunities. So very simple question to get things going. What unique opportunities do you see AI agents and agentic AI unlocking for hotel tech providers like yourself?
I mean, it will help business owners, hoteliers, property managers. It will help them to streamline their business.
Mm-hmm.
So it will make them, I would say, a lot more personalized in their communication, in the way that they handle, let's say, any communication from anything from enhancing the traveler's experience with coming to stay at their hotel or their properties. It will enable them to be faster in responding, having more access to, let's say, things that maybe it would take them an extremely long time to research and to check into or to dig a little bit deeper into.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I mean, yeah, I would say that I'm very positive about it. It will definitely help them in terms of more so the streamlining, I think, is the biggest aspect. Is like streamlining, making it more personalized, being able to really deliver that authentic hands-on approach with
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily being as hands-on as they need to be as well.
That makes sense. And from the smartness side of things, you
Mhm.
guys have been using AI within your solutions anyway. This new aspect of AI agents, how are you approaching it? What opportunities, without giving away all your competitive secrets of what you're working on, but where do you see opportunities maybe for providers of hotel technology like yourself, both within, maybe if I look at two sides of the equation, maybe within the products and how that's developing, but also internally, how you might look to utilize the AI agents and that kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a little bit of a background about us is obviously that we're using AI for our pricing side. Obviously, we are bringing out new products as well. And one of our like our smart chat, which is an AI like let's say 24/7 support,
Mm-hmm.
will provide like a chatbot to provide instant answers to instant queries, resolve issues, and the key thing about this is being able to do it 24/7, right?
Yeah.
It's outside of the opening hours, so to speak, of when people are able to communicate with their guests as well. So this is one of the most recent products that we have launched, and it's a very exciting thing because being like we're also property managers, so we run properties, we own properties. Um,
Okay.
and so we obviously this is how smart pricing came, right? Is we understood that it was like very difficult to stay on top of the pricing, understand like your customers' decisions. So that's where we, let's say, started smart pricing, which we're using for our properties. Now it's like the next layer.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to be able to communicate with our guests. In order to that obviously costs money, having the manpower to be able to do that to streamline your business, etc. And that's what I was talking about before. So having this product, Smart Chat, it's going to enable them to be able to, let's say, stay on top of their guest communication, be able to answer questions like without having to have somebody that's working 24/7 because it's physically impossible.
Yeah, absolutely, and different time zones. I mean, I know a lot of your focus is in Europe, but again, everyone's looking to expand. No one's going to turn down a hotel coming to you to buy your solution if it happens to be based either in Asia or in North America. So, being able to have that accessibility at that time is obviously of great value. That makes a lot of sense. Let's flip the coin slightly and look at it from a threats point of view, because naturally any new technology that comes along does create opportunities, but it also does potentially bring with it threats. And so again, with the focus very much on you guys as a hotel technology company, what do you see as AI agents? What do you see as the threats of this technology potentially bringing to you?
I mean, the thing is it needs to, I think a lot of people with AI are very like apprehensive about it. They're very scared to utilize it. And I think we're seeing it more and more that people are slowly sticking their head round, the wall and looking into it a little bit more. I think if your product relies on the hotelier being the operating, checking the dashboard, clicking a button, like an AI agent will eventually surpass you. I mean, we see it in lots of places already. They are able to check like a lot of different endpoints in order to have the information. So that like the information goes a lot deeper than a human being can probably will get to, but it will take them time, as what we discussed as well. So it won't, let's say, if you are solely using one or the other, I think your business there's going to be like a blocker where the business will stop. You need to like utilize it to the point of helping. Like it's very true that if you've got, let's say, repetitive guests coming, VIP guests, of course the operator is going to be able to like bypass AI technology by having that human touch, being able to offer them things that maybe AI simply it doesn't have that empathy, it have that human understanding of like if there's a certain thing that the guest needs as well. So when like for instance when smart chat replies to a guest, it doesn't ask the PMS or the CRM separately for the context. It's got all of the information at its fingertips, let's say. So this, in that way, it makes it more effective. They're not having to check multiple tech stacks and as well. But if they don't talk to each other and they're not communicating for the point of understanding what actually this guest needs this, or this guest also spoke to so-and-so in another department, then it's not going to really understand, and there's going to be gaps missing as well. So I think this is a worry. From my point of view, I don't think anyone should ever just replace it and let it work. I think it should be there for when you've got people booking from different areas of the world and you don't have let's say, the necessary people working at that time to be able to handle the guest communication. Or if it's a property manager, which 90% of the time property managers are alone in the way that they're managing properties. So I think it's good in that aspect that it can answer like in-depth questions without having to have somebody on their phone 24/7 or on their laptop 24/7. But I think there is gaps in the empathy. In hotel, people return to hotels because of the experience. What makes the experience? People make the experience, not just the destination. So I think it's also having the human touch, which is a lot of people like the property managers, the hoteliers, the general managers, they always enhance the guest experience. AI doesn't do that from my point of view. So
from a perspective, I mean, you guys have a pricing solution. So, I mean, we can go into ChatGPT and ask it to code for us. We could ask it to evaluate a whole stack of data and give us an analysis. I mean, do you see AI agents that would sit on top of data in a way posing a threat? If we take pricing as one example,
Mhm.
Do we see the potential of where hotels might say, well, hey, why do I need a pricing solution where I could have a central reservoir of data, I could have AI agents built that can go in and analyze that data, and they could come back and give me predictions or analysis. Why do I need to be investing in a pricing tool? Do you see it evolving to that kind of level?
If you've got what, I don't know, let's say the next layer of an AI agent, like checking everything and then identifying what the price should be. But then the double-edged sword is that they're going to have to go back to the hotelier property manager and give their suggestions, and then they're gonna have to update the pricing.
Mm-hmm.
There's still going to be that manual link there.
Yeah.
Smart pricing, it does it automatically. You have the rules that you can set, you can do the minimum, you can stay fully in control of it. And I think this is another key thing about AI is like it's not a plug and play, you know. I think if you use AI as a plug and play, again, it will never enhance it to the full capacity. So um the fact that we're able using AI, which is the most intuitive, it's recognizing the competitors, the demand, the seasonality. If Taylor Swift announces that she's coming 1 hour away from your properties, it's going to give you the most authentic and maximum ADR price that you can get based on so many like real-time data.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will update it automatically for you.
Yeah.
So you set the parameters, you set the different strategies that you want to put in place. And obviously it works a lot better when you're, coming into it and adapting it slightly or changing it slightly. It's able to learn because it's like machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. I think if somebody's doing it like that, it would be a bit backwards the way that I would look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to a certain point, but I don't think again, it's one of those like you're not using it the right way, would be my standpoint is if you smart pricing is really, I really think that everybody like that has, a certain amount of hotel rooms, like 10 or more should be using, dynamic pricing,
Mm-hmm.
revenue, RMS, because you're able to have the most intuitive pricing by doing this. AI agents is like the next level
Yeah.
of being able to like stay on top of things that let's say a human can't do,
Mm-hmm.
that you can save time where that human could be doing something else, and is able to analyze so much data as well. One I saw something really fun the other day is someone's flight got cancelled. There was like this influencer on Instagram, let's say, and her flight got cancelled, and she went into ChatGPT and she needed to go to Greece.
Right.
There was no other flights, I think, for like a couple of days, and so she asked ChatGPT like the best way and the fun way to get to her location. And I found it really, I never thought, like, I use ChatGPT a lot, but I was like, and
I
the
thought
way
it was.
it came back, it was so interesting. And so this for me is like AI agents when, let's say, like, book enhancing the guest experience, booking different things. Because when you ask it questions, it maybe also is thinking a little bit outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes humans we think inside the box.
Yeah.
I
In a
think
very
that can
structured way. We have to be structured, don't we? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you want to make it the best for the guest. Like sometimes you wouldn't necessarily suggest something because you might think, well, they're never going to go for it. But if an AI agent is suggesting it, somebody might be like, well, if they're digging all into like trusting the technology, then why not,
No,
this
it
kind
makes sense. Makes sense. Just picking up on that on the point that you made in terms of yes, it could seem logical that hotels might look to do that, but your view is maybe a bit more, bit backwards in the way of doing it. I was just wondering whether or not, because a lot of it comes down from from where I look at it of the level of sophistication, and there's nothing to say that agents like ChatGPT, these things are evolving all the time. When ChatGPT came out a couple of years ago, everyone was going, what's this all about? And now everyone's talking about it, using it, and it's developing. So you could argue easily that agents will evolve and people will learn how to utilize it more effectively. And I guess I'm wondering how much, if we start will we start to see the hotel industry um, fragments slightly, for want of a better word. The gaps start to widen between the major brands and maybe independent hotels and smaller groups. The major brands will have more resources in terms of teams and budgets that they could possibly invest in building proprietary agents, working on leveraging their consolidated data. And would they start to take it more in-house and start to build these agents on top of their consolidated data, whereas you would then have the smaller groups and independent properties that are going to, maybe they're the ones that would lean more into the hotel tech providers, because obviously they don't have the scope to be able to do it themselves. What's your thought on that?
I think it would take, I mean, it's kind of it's like when you're a product and then you're trying to, because you see of way the industry is going, that you try to create like we see a lot of let's say PMSs doing smart pricing, like dynamic pricing. And it's not really like their wheelhouse, it's not their standpoint, because they're best at what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think having like a, let's say, a big chain hotel group, and maybe I don't know, 10 years, who knows what's happening, because
Sure.
I don't think anybody could have even saw what's happening these days.
Absolutely.
I think it costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of time, and in order to have like, again, an AI agent needs to be it needs to be built the right way, because if you're not putting the right information into it, it can go horribly wrong, So if you're not utilizing it, if you're making your own version, because obviously, like, in the bigger, let's say in the long run, you think it's better for you to have your in-house version. I don't personally, I don't see it happening, because don't think people know enough about it. Even in 10 years, I think the hotel world, they're going to know that they need to streamline. They're going to know that they need to, even before 10 years, they're going to know that they need to utilize on the tools that providers have, like us. And they're going to need to kind of not just dip their toes in, they're going to need to get like both feet in and embrace it. I don't think that they will go down the route of creating their own, because I think that they would then be going backwards, in the sense of it will take a really long time to have what AI agents should be doing, because they won't have the resources and the technology and the, let's say, the experience in order to build it effectively and efficiently. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's what we're after. Personal viewpoints. Coming out of the hotel side of things and looking again back into the hotel technology vendors. So you guys, your competitors, the PMSs, the whole gambit. Do you see this, and maybe more broadly, the whole AI space and what's going on in the industry? But where do you see this new development of AI agents creating maybe greater consolidation, new entrants coming into the market? How do you think it might shape the hotel technology provider space over the next couple of years?
I don't know. I think it's one of those ones I don't want to think about it, because it's so, like, I mean, the space in the hotel tech, then property managers and the tech stacks that we're all, and I come from a PMS background. I've worked with property managers for the last like 5 years, helping them streamline their business. We saw it also with Airbnb, Booking.com. There's loads of OTAs now as well. There's loads of PMSs. There's loads of RMSs. It's a never ending, I would say, void.
Never ending list of S's.
A never ending list. Yeah, exactly. And there is, what I always say, especially to my customers, is there isn't a solution, that there isn't just one size fits all. So for sure, people are coming into, they're going to see the value in AI. They might be late to the party, and then people like we'll see another, I don't know how many companies doing exactly what we're doing as well.
Sure.
So I think I don't want to say it's worrying, because it's like people being worried that they're going to have their jobs replaced by AI. maybe, I mean, definitely for some people, I think it is inevitably going to happen. And I work in sales, and I think there's really, I would say, some interesting things happening with AI and sales,
Hmm.
because we're even like, let's say, testing things like this as well at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I think it's going definitely be, going to become more competitive. It's there's going to be a lot more. I would probably see that there's going to be a lot more people getting into the space, realizing that this is like a huge market, um, coming in with a newer product that does, like we saw it with ChatGPT. We saw it. I can't remember the name, but there was one that was coming out from India, I think, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's amazing!" And then there was all your ChatGPT like hardcore fans that were like, "No, this is the original." So I think it's definitely going to get more competitive. I think a lot more companies in the tech space are going to try and go down this route because inevitably it's unavoidable, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's just a case of I mean, we're now 5 years in. We have already kind of like started with the smart chat with Smart Connect. We have like a good solid foundation with smart pricing. So
Hmm.
I think we're in a good standpoint. I'm really not worried about how we're going to progress.
Yeah.
I think, people coming into the space, yeah, I mean, good luck to everybody. And
I guess
I
it
think
happens everywhere, doesn't it?
exactly, yeah, there wouldn't, there will always be something for everyone, I think. So,
And I guess it feels a bit cyclical as well. I was having a similar conversation with somebody else the other week, and they said, "Oh, it just feels like we've gone backwards, and then we'll go forwards again." In the sense that a while ago the phrase was one stop shop, and he said, you're starting to see a lot of these bigger platforms acquiring other companies to almost have one solution that a hotel can buy into. He said, but we were there before, and then you got new entrants came in that took elements of that to a different level, and they became the best of breed, and suddenly it's like, well, I want the best of breed, not a one-stop shop, and it fragmented again. And it just feels at times that these things can be a bit cyclical.
yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, again, coming back to the PMSs, it's there isn't just, if you look at the human nature, there isn't the, 9 times out of 10, they're not just buying one product.
Hmm.
Whether it be in any aspect of their life, they're always checking other things because it's curiosity, right? It's the same with like people that prefer booking on OTAs. It's the same with like your one-stop shop PMS because it connects all the channels and it does this and it does that. And now it's doing pricing and everything. And yeah, to your point, everybody was going down the route of like, but you can have just one tech stack and we can take it. And again, I don't know, it's not ever going to be the case, to be honest, because it isn't going to fit everybody.
Hmm.
It's also about the pricing. It's also about how it's working for the customer. They will test it. It might not work for them. They will change because if something doesn't work, that's the grass is always greener,
Hmm.
I think it's I definitely think it's some aspects I think it's a bit of a shame because I would like to see that there be certain products for certain reasons and there's other products like with pricing I definitely think like in-house PMS pricing there's a limitation to it, right? And
Hmm.
I think if you're going to do something do it proper and do it right and do it well, and if you're going to do it well you can't control everything if you're offering one thing and maybe you're offering like a couple of different things, do them really well. And that's how you will retain customers and that's how you'll give the best experience to your customers.
Yeah, so
If
it's kind of that best of breed thought process rather than the what is it, the jack of all trades but master of none kind of thing, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. If you dip your toes into every like aspect of you're not going to do a good job on everything.
Hmm.
That's the reality of the situation. It's physically impossible, and it's fine and it's financially impossible. So
Yeah.
I think do it like stay in your lane, do it well and do it really, really well that your customers are super happy and their longevity is really, really great. and then let other people do their things really well, and let's all kind of, there's enough room, I would
Yeah,
say.
collaborate, work together to make it. No, yeah, there's some good points in there. Okay, data, because none of this happens without data.
Hmm.
And I'm just interested to get your view on it, because you're in there daily working with hotel groups. And when I look at the industry from the outside, we're still talking about working in silos. We're still talking about data not being structured data and fragmented data. And it just seems as if, well, how can you have AI agents that are investigating your data and drawing conclusions across different data sets if it's just spread out here, there, and everywhere? And then you've got the issues on data security. You're now developing a programming that's going to go in and access your data, which to me potentially creates a weakness that people could exploit. Add to that data compliance with things like GDPR, and are we using it in the right particular way? Just for a few moments, as someone that is working with hotels day in, day out and looking at those challenges, how should hotels be thinking from a data perspective if they are considering going down this AI route?
I mean, it's a good point. Again, it's coming back to like the tech stack that they have, where the data is coming from. To your point, I think is really, really key, because um, reading data from one endpoint and not considering other aspects is, I would say, quite dangerous in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of it's mixed messages. Is it accurate? You're then kind of putting your trust into something that you're already trying to be evolved into looking into, but actually there's so many unanswered questions as well. I think data, talking about it from one point of view, for let's say analyzing data, I think it's really important to know where the data is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And again, where are they getting the data? Because you could be getting it from every different endpoint, and that leaves a lot of unanswered questions
Yep.
for me. I think you don't necessarily need to research all of the data in the world. If you have, for instance, giving a little bit about our history, is like we're reading all the historic data. So we're able to understand from the historic data the pricing aspect. And then we're reading data from booking.com, let's
Mm-hmm.
say. .com been around for time,
Yep.
we're then taking things like, let's say, announcements, as I talked about, like Taylor Swift or whoever it is coming, the demand in the season, again, from booking.com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at that, just as an example, is booking.com is one of the leading platforms. So
Yep.
I would say it's the most used OTA there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's a certain level of like, well, I would say there's a huge amount of truth to it as well, because we're taking this real-time data on demand, seasonality, all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for hoteliers to understand when using AI, like where the company or how they're using it is, where is this data coming from? I think it's really important
Yeah.
as if you've got an AI agent like communicating like through WhatsApp, obviously from let's say in Smartness, right?
Yep.
We're in our platform. Obviously, we're integrated with the PMS. So we're keeping everything kind of inside. If
Mm-hmm.
the AI agent is able to understand their, let's say, persona, if
Mm-hmm.
they ask certain questions, and then they can really, let's say, expand on that. But I don't know, I'm more to the, like, I think it's really, really key that it's important that we're not over analyzing everything in order to have like really authentic data. Some people will be like, we get our data from here and here and here. And that's not necessarily good, because then there's a lot of cross sharing, there's a lot of open gaps, there's a lot of unanswered questions. It's not necessarily bad if people are only getting data from one endpoint, I would say. As long as it's really, let's say, intuitive data. So historic data, communication data, being able to understand the persona of the, like a CRM data, this kind of inside your own system. I think it's a lot more, let's say, trustworthy than going and checking like 50,000 different endpoints.
Sure. Okay. In terms of the reason we were doing this series this time of year is because it's often the point at where hoteliers start to have some early thoughts about their 2026 budgets. And we thought it would be useful amongst all the AI hype, events, it's all over there, articles, it's all over it. And as a hotelier, you could be sitting there thinking, okay, I know I need to be across this. I know I need to be aware of it. I probably may have owners or investors that are telling me, what are we doing about it? But sometimes the amount of noise that comes with it can be confusing, which hopefully these discussions will help clear up. A bit daunting, maybe even kind of make you pause or hold off or even hesitant about where you should be investing for 2026. Should we be leaning into this new technology? I mean, we know hotels can be slightly slower to adopt anyhow. So you throw a curveball in like AI agents and this whole AI space. And there's a slight worry that people may pause for a minute, try and see how this develops. If I was to put you in a room without an overt, obviously, smartness pitch here, but there was a bunch of hoteliers there saying, right, broad brush, what would you be advising we should be considering and evaluating when thinking about our budgets for 2026? What advice would you be giving them? More generally, it doesn't have to just be AI related. It's kind of cutting through the AI hype and saying, okay, is it relevant? Is it not relevant? It might be relevant, but what would you be saying to them?
I think it would be more like for me when I'm trying to, let's say, help a business, help a hotel, property manager, whoever it is, it's really key in understanding what have they been doing? Like, what have they been doing? How have they been doing it? Why have they been doing it as well? And how did it work for them? Because then, and until that point, I think it's really difficult to say, oh, I would suggest this, I would suggest that. And anybody that would go straight in the route of suggesting something, you're not really solving an issue because you don't know what the issue is. So I would really try to understand how did this year go for them? What was great for them? What was not great for them? Let's focus on the things that were not great because that's why AI is here, right? It's not to replace in certain cases, it will replace.
It will. And I think anyone that's saying it won't replace people, they're just not being honest because it is undoubtedly going to replace people for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. But I think until that point, but I do think that is quite a few years away, especially in some industries. I think until that point, it can help you so much. And I think it's more about understanding, okay, let's say that they had, what happens when their team, when they had 5 people out, when they were sick, how did they manage? Was everybody running around like headless chickens? Then the level of service would have dropped for the rest of their guests, and been playing catch up. So there's things like that I would really try to understand on, okay, how can a technology enhance your business? How can you then have all of these things that you're sitting there for days, maybe hours, and trying to analyze the data that you had in order to put the right pricing or do the guest communication or enhance the guest's, let's say, visit with your hotel by booking them other experiences or trips, anything like that. And then really focusing on actually what would help the hotel make more revenue, right? Because this is really key. Like the way property managers work is it's like real estate agents in US. It's all done on reputation. So if they do a good job, if they make their owners money, like it's very basic stuff. If they make their owners money, then they will take on more properties because they will have a great reputation for being a great property manager. How they do that, usually they're a one-man band or one-woman band. They need help in enhancing. So it's the same for hotels. Like hotels often are never, let's say, it's less personalized. We saw in COVID, many people stopped going to hotels. People started to to rent out villas because they wanted that. Because anyway, they needed to be alone,
Yep.
but they wanted that different experience. They didn't want to have to be in a hotel sharing a swimming pool with like 40 other people, you know?
Yep.
So I think it would be really key to understand, okay, where can they get their other revenue streams from? Because maybe they've got a certain amount of repeat bookers. How can they enhance their experience? But how can they also, let's say, do upselling? Have
Hmm.
they done upselling? Have they looked at that revenue stream? It isn't like hotels now need to be a lot more competitive with what they're offering and the service level that they're providing in order to have people rebook with them, or to, let's say, be even more, let's say, considered to new clientele as well.
Yep.
So it would be able to like offer them different ways of revenue streams that maybe they haven't thought of, because typically a hotel is, you've got a room, maybe you have breakfast, maybe you have dinner, and or maybe they spend a few drinks at the bar, and that's typically it. Maybe there's a spa service, etc. There's so much more that a hotel can do, and enhance and make money and really kind of think outside the box. And I think that's key, is like really thinking outside the box, and being like competitive with what they're doing in order to say, okay, and then suggesting that and saying, okay, this is how your tech stack can help you
Yep.
make that be a reality,
And it may
And I
be an individual solution, or it could be an AI option, whatever that might be, but it be specifically led towards something you're trying to achieve, rather than just, okay, well, let's do everything with AI because it's the new shiny technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even taking like, let's say a few steps back is, when there was a lot of people getting into renting out their properties or creating boutique
Hmm.
hotels and this kind of thing. And it was kind of like in the beginning, like, where do I start? Well, you need to list them on an OTA.
Yep.
Obviously, then it's like, which OTA? Oh, let's just put them on all of them, because visibility is key.
Hmm.
And then you're managing like five, six, seven different channels, and you're doing it manually. So then, you're talking to people about, actually you could have everything in one place, and, one will talk to the other. Then you've got like all of the reservations, all of the guest communication. And now, that's the thing with AI, is it's then like, and then it's like the pricing. Sorry, let me take even like a little bit more step back. It's like, then it's the pricing, like understanding pricing like effectively and efficiently, because this is the problem. Like, people don't understand what they should price their rooms at, what their properties at. They don't get it.
Hmm.
Even
Yeah.
even like if they've got 85% occupancy, but that's great and good for you, but you're still
Yeah.
missing it, and you're still not able to understand what's coming.
Yeah.
You can't see the future, you can't stay on top of every little thing because it's physically impossible.
Hmm.
So I think that's where, again, like the AI, intuitive pricing, the regular updates, the real time like events, being able to understand what your competitors are doing without you having to go and look at them on.
Checking it. Yeah.
And then the AI is the next like it's the next level of like, okay, I have like a million things to do, but I've got people messaging me, asking me questions all the time, but all the information's there, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but people don't want to look for information. They want it at their fingertips.
Yeah.
So how can you make that experience better? It's like using an AI agent. That's how it's going to be. And then you're going to be able to do other things that's going to make you an even more revenue stream. So I think it's, again, it's more about education, but I think what's really key is understanding how, and even getting them to explain to you how they're doing things, and getting them to look at the bigger picture. I think that's really important. Is It's not a case of me pitching to them saying like, yeah, but you should have this and this. It's going next to them and saying like, look what could happen.
Yeah.
Look how this could help you, um, in other aspects of the business, making you. Everyone wants to make money, right? That's why we're all here. We call a spade a spade. Everyone wants to make more revenue. So in order to do that, you need to have help, and the help is the tech stack streamlined, enhancing your business, offering that personalized service, and keeping that authentic. But having other, like, they always say you shouldn't have one job. You should have like four or five different incomes. It's the same for a hotel. They can't just rely on renting, on selling their rooms. They need to look at other things that they can do to enhance the guest experience. They can't physically go and, like, they're not going to be calling up different places and saying like, hey, do you have two, like AI can do that. That's how AI can help you. So I think it's more about educating. And I don't think, again, it's not going to be something that is going to have a quick turnaround. Some people now, yeah, we see it a lot in the industry. Some people it will take time, but the penny will drop for sure
Yeah.
at some point. So
No, some very good points. Makes a lot of sense. And really, I mean, I'm conscious I've kept you a little longer than we expected, but
no problem.
thank you. It's really appreciated, and really value the contributions that you made. Thank you so much.